Where did we start? My name's Lewis. I'm the co-founder of Lewis James Brand. It all started 4 years ago, going into work, distressed. I felt in myself there was more I need to give in life, and there was this idea that come up in my head. I really was into fashion, really wanted to do a fashion brand. Everyone at the time was doing clothing. I thought to myself, there's a big gap in the market for swimwear. The first initial idea was, how can I make a swim short, right, with the appearance of it like a trouser, with components like water repellency, quick dry, transitioning from a pool to a restaurant without having to change. I remember back in the day, I used to wear swimming trunks. I remember going to a pool party and then going to a restaurant after, and I remember getting turned away, and it really got me thinking. I also was in Dubai, and I remember sitting on the beach eating chicken satay, and I remember the satay sauce going down my white short, and it stained it, and I was absolutely devastated. I had to go home and change, all back to my hotel, get in a cab. It was an absolute nightmare. At the time, there wasn't loads and loads of patterns, right? I was obsessed with patterns. I remember just sitting in my office now, started not to do my work. Remember having that discussion with my boss and him saying to me, look, you've done really well for me, but I think that you're really focused on your swimwear, and I think that's what you should be going into. And that's where I got the hunger from. But it still, for me, wasn't the USP for me to differentiate myself from all these other brands. I've done some research into the market, and I found a brand called Sequel. And the main driving force of this business is sustainability, right? So it wasn't, for me, I wasn't really just thinking of using just recycled fabrics. I wanted to take it that step further. Sequel are actually a yarn producing company from plastic bottles. They've got 3 location points around the world, one in Tunisia, one in Mexico, and one in Egypt, the Red Sea. I contacted them and said, look, I'm a strong believer in this. Is there any way that we can work together? They come back to me straight away and said, yeah, you can get a license with us, basically. So not everyone can specifically use their materials. We got the license, and now that's the fabrics that we use for our swimming trunks. And I thought, you know what, they're 3 strong pillars for me that I can really enter this market and bring value to people. After I thought of my USPs, I need to then go and find a manufacturer, as I actually left my old manufacturer with the previous company that I was with. I actually found someone else. The guy sold me a dream. So I remember getting that first sample back, and I was really disheartened. I'd looked at it and I thought, wow, this is nowhere near what I've asked for. Even the material was completely wrong. It actually, normally a normal sample would probably take you 6 to 8 weeks to come back. This guy took 5 months. The funny thing is, he actually brought me back the same sample as the first one and tried telling me it was different. That day is when I knew things were wrong. This guy could not achieve what I wanted to achieve. Another 5 months again, contacted him, where's the sample, this, that, blah, blah, blah. No, it was just not happening. I had to cut my losses. Then I thought to myself, do you know what? Is this really gonna happen for me? Am I gonna achieve my dream? Or am I gonna have to go on now, try and find another job and work for someone else, which I hated? I was stressed, I was trying to find another manufacturer. And I remember just one day, spoke to one of my best friends, a guy called James Brown. Very grateful for the conversation. I feel like God was looking over me at that time, because he said to me, look, I've got the perfect guy for you, can help you out, And I was like, no, mate, honestly, I'm tired of this. I've had these conversations for years now. I had no trust and belief in it. And anyway, he said, look, what's a conversation gonna hurt? Just go there, have the conversation. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. If it is, it is. So I thought, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. And I remember saying to him, look, let's just cut to the chase while we're here, Look, this is what I want to achieve. Can you help me? And he went, bang, straight away, told me the fabric that I needed, told me we need to go to Portugal. And I was like, this feeling of excitement, I had tingling feelings come through me, and I thought, yeah, it's happening. God's put me back on this path, It was actually Christmas Day, 2 days later. It was the day before Christmas Eve we met. And I remember on Boxing Day, he went to me, after Christmas Day, you've got 1 day off, at Boxing Day we're working. And then on the 2nd of January, we was booking trips to go to Portugal. And that's when the story really started for us as Lewis James, the brand. Yeah, we managed to found the fabric straight away, which was brilliant. But it was the finish, the coating on it with the factory. Could they achieve this? There was testing going involved in it. Now this is where another issue comes in, and this is really, really, really got me down again. The guy who was in charge at this factory just messed us around. I remember then we getting a phone call, or Neil got a phone call, and they said to Neil, from the guy in charge, look, I've left the company now. I've gone to a new factory. I have shares in this company. I'm going to put you priority first. We've gone to this factory now, right? We're that close. We're thinking, okay, it's going to be done in 6 weeks. Once they get all the components in-house. Nah. This is when the nightmare started. It got to the point now, I've got people asking me, when's your sample? When are you launching? When are you launching? And I started to get that, I've become sad. I've become very depressed. And it got to 10 months down the line, and the guy decided to block me. After 10 months, he blocked me. I wasted so much money. I'm literally got no money left, and I made a massive mistake, and that's what changed my life. That is generally what happened. In March 2023, I made the biggest mistake of my life, which completely broke me. And I remember one of my friends who's got a mental health app, and it's called Shara. He said to me, use this app, journal every day, do your gratitude every day, be grateful for what you have. And I thought to myself, you're right, like, let's be grateful, and really changed my thought process. I rang up Neil again. I said, Neil, let's go back to the old factory. Let me give them a call. That was it. That was when we flew back out there, flew to the factory, had some lunch, met them, and put our differences aside. I told them how strongly I feel about this brand. From then, we've made really good progress. They got it done when they said they needed to get it done, and that's when the self-belief come back into me, and I started really, really manifesting. What the problem was, I ran out of money. After all the mistakes and the headaches that I had over the 3 years, I ran out of money. And with the mistake that I made, I had to go and get a job.
On the way to my first Amazon job, working as a delivery driver. You have to get some money somehow, doing a business on the side.
I was working for Amazon Flex at the time because I needed to pay some bills. I had my girlfriend helping me pay my bills, feeding me, you know. I couldn't go and just get another 9-to-5 job, because if I got a 9-to-5, I wouldn't be able to go and achieve what I'm doing with Lewis James now. I was in a really bad way. But I'm very grateful for my girlfriend who helped me, my family let me move back into their home. I had to basically restart again at 29. So my mindset at the time, I was in a much better place. So 9 weeks have gone by, and the factory have delivered what they promised, the swim shorts, the invoice they sent me over, but I didn't have no money there. I didn't feel stressed about the invoice. I knew some sort of way I would be able to pay it, or something would come up. 3 months prior to that, this is when I really started getting heavily into manifestation and really started to believe it. I remember writing down that I was so grateful and happy now that my partner Demetrius would call me and we would have a discussion on being a partner with me. This guy was my inspiration, right? I've seen this guy go from here to here with multiple businesses, what he's done. I remember just getting a phone call 3 months later, and he called me up, having a nice conversation, having a catch up, and he said to me, look, what's going on with the brand? Got an invoice to pay. I haven't got the money to pay it yet, but I'm looking for probably an investor. And I remember him just saying to me, get me a brand deck over and I can look at it. I'd be interested. And I had these goosebumps come over me, and I just knew that I was going to get this phone call again saying, okay, yeah, I would like to invest into the business. And that's exactly what happened.